Hello, my name is Mr. Parmenter, and today I'm going to show you how to properly maintain and clean your trumpet. And maintaining your trumpet is very important because it will make sure that it's in full playing at all times. First, we're going to start with the mouthpiece, and this is a cleaning mechanism. We can use the cleaning disinfectant, and we just want to spray that on. We want to do that every few days just to make sure all the extra germs are not staying on your instrument. Set that to the side while we go ahead and do the rest of our instrument. We're going to first start with the slides. We have 4 slides on the trumpet. We have the tuning slide, and then we have 3 valve slides. We have the 3rd valve slide here. We have the 2nd valve slide here, and then we've got the 1st valve slide here. All of those slides have to be greased and be cleaned to maintain the instrument and that they're in good working order. To clean the slide, we'll want to take the slide all the way out, grab a piece of paper towel, wipe it down, and you should do this every couple of weeks of full cleaning on your slides to make sure that you have all the gunk off them. You can use your tuning slide grease. It's thick. It's not liquid. Take a little bit on your finger and smooth it on. You want to make sure that you don't have too much on the slide because any extra is just going to get pushed out and wasted. Do both parts of the slide. And wipe your fingers off. Carefully insert it back in. I like to insert it and pull it back out a few times to make sure that the grease is being rubbed into the metals. And then you'll see that I have some extra on here, and we'll want to take our paper towel and wipe that off. I also store my tuning slides, all my valves, and in my valve slides closed so that the grease doesn't dry out. So now that moves nice and slow. The tuning slide is your biggest slide of the 3. The second most important slide is your 3rd valve slide. This is the slide that you're going to use on your D. You want to make sure this is in real smooth working order. You can always push 1 and 3 down to move it in and out. If you don't want to pull them out all the way and you just want to add a little extra grease, you can just go ahead and install some grease on it with it not being pulled out all the way. This is not a full cleaning, but it's something that I would suggest that you do weekly. Push your 1 and 3 valve down, rub it in so it moves in back and forth nice and easily, and then go ahead and wipe off the extra grease. Continue to do that on your 1st valve, your 2nd valve slide, your 3rd valve slide, and then your tuning slide, and then you should have all your slides done. The next thing is you're going to work on are your valves. Your valves are what going to make your trumpet play the different notes. It's very important that your valves are clean and that you have these in good working order so that they do not get stuck and slow you down when you're playing your trumpet. Each valve has the number on the front of the valve pointing towards your mouthpiece. So as you're looking at the trumpet right now, your number is going to be towards the mouthpiece. This is the 1st valve, closest to your mouth, 2nd valve, and then 3rd valve. If you remove the valve, you unscrew the circle cap. You don't want to unscrew here because this will actually take your finger button right off the valve, and it will take the valve apart. Go and pull the valve out. You notice right here it says 1. Hopefully you can see that on the video. It says 1, and it shows you which way the valve goes back in. So that's going to go back in towards the mouth. Towards the mouth. To clean this, and this one has not been cleaned in a very long time, it looks like, you want to take, and I use paper towel, you can use a brush, you can get a valve brush also, And I just like to go in between all the holes of the valve, making sure that we're cleaning out the inside of the holes. It gets all the old oil that's been used up out and anything that can slow you down. Paper towel to wipe the valve down. Make it nice and clean as possible. You can go in further and clean the valve here, and by doing the same mechanism, making the same mechanism with a piece of paper towel. Or you can use a valve brush also. Go ahead and stick that in there. Move it around. And you can see it needed to be cleaned. You can also remove the bottom here. Get the bottom removed. Use the paper towel in there too. Clean that out. Go ahead and reinstall the bottom. Make sure that there's no gunk in the bottom of your cap on the bottom. And then as you're inserting the valve back in, you want to make sure that one is pointed back at the mouth. Now you have these valve slides here, these white things here. They help the spring, hold the spring in place, but they also hold the valve in place. So you got your one, you bring it back here, it pushes down, it only goes in one way. Some trumpets you can insert them backwards, and I'll show you how to decide if you did that in a second. To oil it, you want to use your oil. It's a liquid, not a solid like your grease is. Take your oil and just put a couple drops on the silver part of your valve. You don't want to put too much on, just a couple drops. Move it up and down, spin it around to go ahead and spread the oil out, making sure your one is pointed back at the mouthpiece, and then put it in until it locks. And carefully put on the cap. And get it on. Sometimes it helps to take a little tiny bit of grease and just touch along the threads of the cap, and that sometimes helps you get the cap back on easier. There we go. Kind of work that in to make sure that it goes on nice and smooth. Don't force a cap on because you can actually strip that. Make sure that it's locked in place, and then you can also blow through it. You hear air coming through it. That means you have the valve in the right position with the one pointing back at you. I like to do a one valve at a time. That way I don't get mixed up and accidentally put 3 in 1 or 2 in 3, and then the trumpet doesn't work. If you take your trumpet apart and then you don't have air going through it, two problems. You could either have not locked into position, or you can have a valve out of place, or you can have your valve backwards. So check to make sure that they're all locked into place. Check to make sure your numbers are pointing back at your mouthpiece, and then check to make sure you have them in the correct order. If you're not doing a full cleaning, take your and pull your slide out. This is what I encourage all my students to do once a week. Or I encourage a full cleaning once a week, and then this every other day. Put just a little valve oil in, move it up and down to make sure that your valve is ready to go, and then put the cap back on. That way your valves always are working in good order, and you are able to play without any kind of valve malfunction. Again, checking to make sure that you have the air going through your instrument so you can be ready to play. Lastly, we want to make sure that we keep the instrument in good looking condition. It saves our finishes on our instrument. I have a protector around the valves where my fingers go here to save the finish on my valves. I also use a rag, and this is a silver rag, one made to clean the silver, and go ahead and wipe it down, get all the fingerprints and any kind of dust or dirt off it, and make your instrument look pretty but also last. You want to do this almost every day. You don't need a silver rag. You can use any kind of rag. I buy a lot of rags from the store, the microfiber rags, and that makes the instruments look nice and are able to not scratch, but also be able to get the fingerprints off. You want to make sure that in cleaning your instrument that you do not use any kind of cleaner or bathing it in water unless you ask your band director. There are certain ways you can do that, so you can wash out the inside, but you want to check with your band director to do that. For cleaning supplies and also oil and grease, you can get this from your band director, or you can get it from any local music store. It is important that we keep our trumpet looking nice. This helps keep fingerprints off it. It helps make it look pretty when you're playing it. But we're also hoping that you are able to not just have it look nice, but that you are using it and that you put the practice time in to make it sound as beautiful as it looks. Thank you for watching. Hopefully this helps on maintaining and cleaning your trumpet.